Hi, today we're going to go over put options, but you should know none of this is financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. There are several risks involving trading in the stock market, and you should always consult with a professional. With that said, let's begin. I use put options in the stock market to maximize my gains on a movement to the downside. In this video, I'll show you how I do it. What are put options? First of all, options are contracts. Basically, it's a deal between the person who buys the option and the person who sells it. The option contract gives the buyer the right, but not the obligation, to sell a stock at a certain price, which is referred to as the strike price, by a set date known as the expiration date. Each contract represents 100 shares of the underlying stock. A put option increases in value when the stock falls. A put option loses value when the stock moves higher, especially if the stock goes above the strike price. Let's use Apple as an example. Ticker symbol AAPL. Apple is at $175 per share. Let's say I'm the buyer of the put option with a strike price of $170, and the contract expires on October 6, 2023. As the buyer, I am given the option to sell Apple stock at $170 a share. I don't have to exercise the contract to sell the shares at $170. For me to have that option contract, I have to pay the seller $2. I will actually be paying $200 per contract because each contract represents 100 shares. Is that a good deal? Well, that depends if the price of the stock moves lower or higher. Scenario number one, this is how I make money. In this scenario, I buy a put option, and that means I want Apple stock to fall, ideally before expiration date. Apple is currently sitting at 175. Let's say Apple moves to 165 within the next 2 weeks. At that point, I will be making a good return on my option contract. With this contract, if Apple moves to $165, I have the option to sell Apple at $170. Which is a good deal because I will be selling Apple for $170 and immediately buy it on the open market for $165, making $5 per share. The put option would be worth $500. Since I paid $200 for the put option, I will be making $300 net profit, which is more than 100% return on investment. Now, let's look at scenario number two. This is how I lose on this trade. As we already know, each contract comes with a time window. If the stock doesn't move to the downside, preferably below my strike price, then my put option is likely to lose value to the point of being completely worthless by expiration date. If by expiration date, Apple stock is only trading at 170 or above, then that means my contract will expire worthless. Scenario number three. If Apple goes to 169.50 cents within the next 2 weeks, that means the value of the contract will be 50 cents on expiration date. Although it went below the strike price of 170 and there is a gain of 50 cents, I still lose money because I originally paid $200 for the contract. Now my contract is only worth $50. So if I want to win, I need the stock to move quickly towards my direction of bias, in this case to the downside. And the best way to do so is by having volatility. If Apple gets hit with bad news, then it could potentially impact the stock in such a way that the stock moves lower very fast. Just like I do with stocks, I can buy and sell put options in the market. This means I don't have to exercise my right to sell the stock at a certain price. I can just sell the option contract. You can buy different put options with different strike prices, as you can see in the screen of options chain. The lower the strike price, the cheaper it is, mainly because there are less probabilities the stock will go to that price. Also, if you want more time in your contract, you're going to pay more for that particular put option. If I want to buy a put option, this is how I do it. I search for the stock, in this case Apple, and then I look for the option chain. Once I have the option chain open, I select the one I am interested in and I buy to open. If I already have the position in my portfolio and I want to close it, then I go and select sell to close. By now you know if a stock moves towards your directional bias, you can make good money. You also realize that if the stock price doesn't cooperate within a specific time window, then you lose money. If you found this video helpful, please give this video a like and share it with someone who can find this helpful. Thank you.